Okay, so my report is on the 2021 Horizon report, but I also looked at the other reports as kind of a guideline to help me tie them all together. My focus was mostly on remote work and learning, which was mostly on pages 7 to 13, but kind of throughout the rest of the document. So, a couple things that I found on the report was just the impacts on higher education. So, a couple of the ones that they brought up was just the transition to online learning, and that's something that had to immediately happen in March of last year. But now that it's just a growing transition to online learning, and it talked about how many of these colleges aren't going to return to face to face. Also, that more students are going to just enroll in online learning, and we're going to see a huge transition to just online learning, and students not even going back to in person, specifically in higher education, because they have that option of being at home or working while they're in school or living at home saving money. So we're going to see a growth in that. The other impact on higher education would be just more security. Because so many more people, including professors, teachers, are working at home on personal devices or even school devices, having more security involved with that. And something that they were looking at is how can that become more efficient, because if less people are enrolled in school, there's obviously going to be less money coming in. So how can that become more efficient? And then it reached into some of the negative impacts, that some of these schools are going to just fail to make that transition, and it's going to eventually lead to possible downfall or just a decline in enrollment, which is going to make everything a lot harder, where they're going to have to be more cost efficient. Uh, Going beyond the higher education is just the evidence that they're looking at is how many offices are going back to in person. It said that 9 to 12% of people are looking to go back full time to the office. I think one of the biggest impacts we've seen from the COVID-19 pandemic is just the necessity to be in person, and how many people can do their work from home without being full time in the office. And then the last impact would just be merging services. So some of these institutions, specifically that higher education, are going to work with other colleges to share services while still maintaining their independence as a institution. So whether they can share specific programs or classes that maybe they don't need full time but can share with others while still maintaining their own institution. And then I looked more specifically at just the impact of education, and higher education. I think we're going to continue seeing an increase in online learning, a lack of face to face, which can be really great for some people. Some people are thriving with this online learning, while some people are really struggling with online learning and need that face to face. So that can go one of two ways, really. But then also collaboration, whether that be with other institutions to help your institution grow, or whether that be collaborating with classmates with the technology. There's so much more collaboration that can be going on. As far as the K to 12 schools, I think the impact that we're going to see here is just more of an implementation of online learning with the use of more technology. Even looking into our next school year in our grade school, we are actually building in virtual days where the students are going to be learning virtually that day. And it's just a day where either the teachers are meeting or a day off. The additional resources I looked at was just the 2021 Tech Enablers Driving K-12 Instruction, and they really identified what works in the classroom. We need to be intentional with our resources that we're using and align those up with our standards. And that is just the basics of the Horizon 2021 report.